We're getting breaking news this morning in the deputy leadership race of the Labour Party, of which I imagine 99% of you listening and watching don't care. The Education Secretary, Bridget Phillipson, is throwing a hat in the ring to replace Angela Rayner, who was, of course, Deputy Prime Minister.
Yeah.
And we've just heard that Emily Thornberry, who didn't make it into government because she thought she was going to be Attorney General, but she misspoke during the election about private schools, has just announced she's going to run. But I've got an issue here about Bridget Phillipson. I interviewed her in this Westminster studio for GB News when I stood in for
Camilla a couple of
weeks ago. Full on, massive job. She's Secretary of State for Education and Schools. Wes Streeting was asked this morning, would you run for the job? I'm sorry, I'm Secretary of State for Health. I've got a really big job to do. I couldn't possibly run for deputy leadership. Does he not think, being Education Secretary, in charge of our kids' schooling, universities, primary schools, juniors, she's got a massive job. She's been forced to do this by Starmer because he wants
somebody in the cabinet
in the job.
Because his worst nightmare is to get a left-winger or someone who's got an axe to grind on the backbenchers as deputy leader.
To cause trouble.
Causing trouble. But what does the deputy leader do? I don't know. It's an official role. They're supposed to keep in touch with the constituency parties.
They're supposed to link with the constituency parties and the party members. They have a seat on Labour's National Executive Committee, which is supposed to be all powerful, but it isn't because Starmer's packed it full of his own people. And they get to make a speech at the Labour Party conference. Now, Rayner did the job very well, but she was Deputy Prime Minister.
Yes.
So that's where the power lay. The power now lays to the Labour Party, and God help us, David Lammy, who went from being the worst Foreign Secretary probably in history. He's now the Deputy Prime Minister because he knew he had to get him out of that job because he was an embarrassment. And he's Justice Secretary. So the real power is with Lammy.
And this is the problem Starmer faced because he's done his reshuffle now.
Yeah.
He's got everybody in the cabinet. If somebody becomes deputy leader that isn't in the cabinet, what's he going to do with them?
Yeah.
That's why Angela Rayner worked well politically, same as John Prescott, in the cabinet, loyal to the Prime Minister, but also keeping in touch with the left wing. I don't know how they're going to repeat that. To me, it seems a bit of a non-job.
And I think another one will throw a hat in the ring. Lucy Powell was Leader of the Commons, so she's in charge of the parliamentary timetable, a big job for any government. She was sacked in the reshuffle last week, and I know for a fact she is spitting tacks over being dismissed, and often that's the reason why they want to run for the leadership, because they want to get back at the person who fired them.
But then they're not going to be helpful to the Prime Minister helping to get legislation through.
But I think what people really care about is the story on the front page of the Telegraph today, Miriam, which is for the first time the government is going to bring in proper league tables, and we see that 4 in 5 NHS hospital trusts are failing according to the first league tables of their kind. 4 in 5? My God!
Yeah, but it depends on your definition of failing, and in there it includes things like waiting time, even staff absence. Now, those things aren't good necessarily, but just because you might have to wait longer or more staff are absent doesn't actually mean you aren't going to get health treatment. I think we should be really careful about this.
Also, a ride here, this only applies to England's hospitals because, of course, the NHS in Wales is run by the devolved assemblies, likewise in Scotland. And this says the tables show that 107 of England's 134 acute hospital trusts, 80% are considered to be failing because they're off track on performance targets for running financial deficits, or running financial deficits. Well, they're running financial deficits because they don't have enough money.
But those things are bad things, but they don't mean you're going to get bad treatment if you walk through the door, and that's what worries me. It's also really focused on cities because it says, oh, well, patients can choose where to have treatment. You can't if you live rurally. It's one hospital. That's your hospital, whether you like it or not. So I don't see how this helps.
I'm from a very big town now, Swindon. It used to be, it's doubled in size since I left home in 1979, but there's still one hospital there for a town, the population of 180,000. You've got no choice. So West Streeting saying this will give people choice because you'll see which ones are failing, which ones aren't. Well, actually, you haven't got much choice if 4 and 5
So if your hospital in Swindon is 134 out of 135, everybody locally feels bad about it. All the doctors and nurses feel bad about it.
And
you can't do anything.
I know.
But they're doing the opposite with schools.
But we are going to have a guest on this in a moment. But I do think people are entitled to know: are there hard-earned taxes? Are you getting a decent service out of this? Most people know anecdotally anyway, don't they?
Yes, they do, because people talk about these things. Well, let's stick with politics, and we're joined now by GB News' political editor, Christopher Hope. Christopher, good morning.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private Internet Access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C-18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private Internet Access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GB News discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally today.
How are you?
Good, Miriam. Welcome to a sunny September day here in Downing Street. The Cabinet's gone inside behind me. We've been shouting, will they support Bridget Phillipson in the leadership race or whoever? Of course, the deputy leadership race nominations close at 5 p.m. on Thursday. We'll have a regular updates every night at 7 p.m. on Labour's website today and tomorrow night. Each candidate needs 80 MPs to get onto the list, and then 5% of constituency Labour parties. And then they go to the ballot of and 3 unions, I think it is. And then they go to the ballot of all 320,000 members. And the result on October 25th is quite fast moving this morning. Bridget Phillipson, she says she will stand today. She's a proud working class woman. In her long statement, I won't read it all out for you, but she name checks Nigel Farage once and the Reform Party once, and says we'll beat them. The Tory party isn't even mentioned in this statement, and that shows the focus on the building behind me on that 35-point lead or 35-point in the polls for Reform UK against Labour on 20 points. In the past few moments, Dame Emily Thornberry has confirmed she will stand to be leader. She says on a note on social media, we fought hard for a Labour government, but we've made mistakes and must listen. Welfare, Gaza, wealth tax, changes to come on Send. I'll be a voice for the membership, unions, PLP and our constituents, not just nod along. Note that she doesn't say she'll be a voice for the government. I think the idea of Emily Thornberry being deputy leader of the party will send shivers through the spine of Keir Starmer and his key team. Don't forget, she was the shadow Attorney General in opposition. She wasn't given that job when the government was formed. Instead, it was given to Lord Hermer, the old colleague of Keir Starmer from his days as a barrister, and I'm sure she'll make sure that she's a stone in the shoe for this government. Elsewhere, Lucy Powell, the former leader of the House of Commons, sacked last week by Keir Starmer on Friday. Are clearly unhappy about that, as Andrew Pearce said just then. She is tipped to stand also for deputy leader. And just finally from the left, Belle Ribeiro Addy, she says she's putting herself forward. Not a lot of detail, but she says she will be explaining shortly over 3 short and undemocratic days why we should have left winger like her, frankly, as deputy leader. She's backed by Richard Bergen, Diane Abbott, and John McDonnell. So the shape of this leadership contest is taking shape. It looks like the left could be coalescing around Belle Ribeiro Addy. They've got to, because the level of getting onto the ballot paper, 80 MPs, is very, very high. So it could be a fight between Emily Thornberry and Lucy Powell for the other ticket, and maybe Bridget Phillipson. It looks to me like Bridget Phillipson is number 10's choice in all but name, but that would be denied by Downing Street. They said to us yesterday they're not going to endorse any candidate. And just as happenstance would have it, Bridget Phillipson, the Education Secretary, is speaking to the Trade Union Congress today in the spot normally occupied by the Prime Minister, but that was planned several weeks ago.